The way my mother always explained it, the traditional man wants a woman to be subservient, but he never falls in love with subservient women. He's attracted to independent women. He's like an exotic bird collector, she said. He only wants a woman who is free because his dream is to put her in a cage. From Trevor Noah's Born a Crime, Stories from a South African Childhood. Hi guys, hi! Welcome to the channel. If it is your first time here and you have no idea who this is, my name is Balisamoon and this is a personal development this is a personal development channel for women. Actually, I think this channel is more than just a personal development channel because we are sitting here, we're talking, we're learning, we are exchanging ideas, we're talking about relationships, we are gossiping sometimes. Actually, this is just an everything type of channel. I want you to sit here with me and be as comfortable as you possibly can because I am trying to be as comfortable as I possibly can. And the more I take these videos or the more that I take content for this channel, the more I'm learning so much about myself. And even when I do research to kind of like structure my thoughts and the things that I want to share on this channel, some of those things, I just need to just disclaimer. Some of those things may be uncomfortable to hear because I'm a very unfiltered type of person. If you know me from like TikTok or whatever, you know I'm a very unfiltered type of person. So I'm really trying to bring that into this channel. I don't think there's enough of my personality in that way on this channel because sometimes I try to be very politically correct or I try to not step on people's toes and still, you know, it's the girls, we need to be comfy, let's not but I'm going to say that this channel is very unfiltered, right? And on this channel, I'm going to be talking about relationships. I'm going to be talking about sex. I'm going to be talking about personal development. Sometimes it's not going to be very nice to hear some of the things that I'm going to say because I hold a lot of controversial views, and I'm not saying controversial views because I'm saying things because I want reactions out of people. That's just the type of person I am, and I started this channel because I wanted to share some of those thoughts that I have in my mind, and maybe somebody else has them too, or even if they don't, it's okay. We can sit down and talk about it and be like, hey, like let's hold these conversations even if they're a little bit uncomfortable. So let me catch my breath because I've said a mouthful. Let me just catch my breath. Let me tell you guys what inspired this video. The other day, I'm sitting at the car wash. You know, I took my cousin, my brother, we went to the car wash, and then you know how it is in the hood. I like to wash my car in the hood. I feel like they take extra time and they clean it very nice. Anyway, so I go to my hood, I wash my car, and I'm chilling there, and you know, I run into obviously the homies in the hood or whatever, and some of the whatever, and we're chilling there, and you know how it is, most they buy drinks and we're chatting, and we start to talk about, you know, umjolo, we start to talk about relationships, and we are talking about just so many things. And at some point we get into the topic of antinatalism. If you do not know what antinatalism is, I'm going to write the definition right here and we talk about that. And the things with me, I love to have uncomfortable conversations with people, like, and not uncomfortable to make people feel uncomfortable. Like, I just don't like to talk about the same things all the time. Like, I like to get into people's heads and like, what are we talking about? Like, oh, what do you think about this? But you know, this also just like research for the channel, right? So we're talking about all these things, and there's a gentleman where we're almost having kind of like a little bit of an argument because I was telling him that like I feel like it's okay for women if women feel like they don't want to have kids at all and they don't want to get married at all. Like, it makes sense because of the society we're in and of course, right? Cool. If you've watched my previous videos, you know where I stand with this. I am pro-choice in terms of women. I really feel like women need to be able to explore their womanhood outside of marriage and outside of being mothers and having children. Even though, like, for me, myself, I know that I want to have a family one day, but it's not like the crux of the core of like my identity or the reason why I live. It's just a part of something that I would like to experience in my life, but that does not mean it's my entire life. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be like crying every day and I'm so sad, and like there's so many other interesting things going on in the world, right? And I'm saying this confidently as a 33-year-old childless unmarried woman. And I know that like at my age, a lot of people are just like, oh, you're getting older. Aren't you worried? That I don't feel like I'm getting older. I don't want to lie to you. Like, I genuinely feel like I am so young. Like, I really, really feel like I'm so young. And I know to other people, it's like, oh, no, but you're old. Like, I don't even like believe in time the way that other people believe in time, right? Like, I don't believe in there's a lot of things, like I said, that I think very differently about. So I do not believe in time the way that other people believe it. I don't think that like I'm running out of time. I don't look at my life like I'm a ticking time bomb and one day everything's gonna explode. Like, I don't look at things like that. And I think that more women need to look at life that way. Look at someone like Lauren Sanchez, right? Jeff Bezos' wife. When we look at her, she's 54 years old, divorced with 3 kids, and she married a billionaire. And I'm not saying that all of us are going to marry billionaires, but I'm just saying, had she put herself in this thing of like, oh, I'm so old now and I have kids and I've been married before, I just need to be a grandmother and I just need to, oh, it's okay, she wouldn't be next to one of the richest men in the world. So I'm just saying, the only time that you're really running out of time is when you think that you are. Like, time doesn't, it's not even linear the way that we think it is. But anyway, let me not be too deep in those type of things. But so I'm having this conversation with this man, and this man says to me, oh, but like, if you don't have kids, then what's the point of your life? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm living a good life. I'm okay. I'm happy. Like, I'm chill. Like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not bored. And I think maybe because I also don't know what it's like to be a mother. So how can I aspire to something that I don't really have an experience of? I know what it's like to be an aunt. Sometimes I miss being an aunt. Sometimes I miss being an older sister, because I'm an older sister. But like, I don't aspire to something that I don't really know what that would be like, except for like the experiences of the women that are now coming out on the internet that are saying, actually, this is not what it's cut out to be. Like, this is not the end all be all. And we're not really enjoying this the way that people said we were going to enjoy it. So just wait a little bit longer, or just don't do it at all if you can. So moving right along, this guy then says to me, yo, you have to want this because it's the moral thing to do. I'm like, moral as to whose standards? Like, as to whose standards? And he's like, when God brings you here. I'm like, okay, cool. Talk to me like I'm a woman that's not religious, because again, I'm not a religious person. We'll get into that. I'm like, talk to me like I'm not a religious person. Talk to me like you are selling this idea to me outside of your idea of I'm going to be lonely, which I'm not, or I'm going to hell, which I don't believe in. And he was like speechless. He didn't know how to sell that idea to me, And while we're having this conversation and we see like the differences in our personality, and we're talking about marriage and we're talking about this, the weirdest thing starts to happen, right? The weirdest thing starts to happen. He starts referring to my brother as his in-law. Mind you, we've been chilling the whole afternoon. We're chilling, we're washing the cars, we're having drinks, we're chatting, we're catching up with some of the other homies that I haven't seen in a while. And all of a sudden, while we're having this almost borderline argument, because he wants me to see his point of view so much, but he still cannot like articulate it the way that I'm saying, okay, articulate it to me outside of you selling me this idea that this is the right thing to do as a woman, as like a godly woman, right? He switches and he's calling my brother his brother-in-law. Hi, sharp. So now I can see that this is now getting weird, because now he's starting to talk to me in a certain type of way. Mind you, I understand that, okay, cool. Maybe when he saw me, he thought, oh, this is like a pretty lady or whatever. But he didn't give me that vibe until we're having this particular conversation. And something clicked to me. I was like, this is what niggas do. So basically, what a man will do is see a woman who is a free woman, like someone who's very opinionated, someone who, someone like me, someone like me. I'm a very opinionated person with a strong character. And I remember even when I was like in my early 20s, there's a man who was like trying to get with me, like an older man actually. I wonder where he is. He was trying to get with me, and he said to me, Palisa, you're so unamenable, or unamenable is the word. I think that's how you pronounce it. But it's basically that, like, I'm a very difficult person to please. And I'm not, and the thing is, I'm not saying this because I'm proud of it or I'm doing it on purpose, that yeah, I must be difficult. It's just how I am. I'm just not someone or tatega ngomoya or tatega easy, right? So, but at the same time, this man that said that I'm an unamenable or unamenable person was saying this while he was trying me. He is trying to get with me. And the thing is, it's because for him, I was like a prized exotic bird, right? So if he could just get me, if he could just capture me and get me to do what he wants and get me to behave the way that he wants, then he would feel a sense of like accomplishment within him. Remember that men are hunters. Men are predatory people. Men are predatory and men are hunters. So even with this guy, it's like for him, the switch then became this thing of, oh, okay, this is an exotic animal. This is something that I'm not used to. This is a woman that's going against something that I'm thinking that, I'm supposed to be able to convince her to do this. I'm supposed to be able to convince her into the certain lifestyle, but she's not. And all of a sudden that gave him a little bit of an attraction to me, or like an interest, a romantic interest in me. And literally, it was just because of the fact that he started to see me like this exotic bird that he wanted to now own, And it's so crazy. By the way, this hairstyle today is inspired by Stepford Wives. I was watching Stepford Wives as part of the research that I was doing for this video. I was rewatching it. It's one of my favorite movies, probably in the top 10, and then probably in the top 5, definitely Don't Worry Darling. So watch Stepford Wives and watch Don't Worry Darling. I'm going to try to tell you what kind of happens in the movies without giving away too much. So I was watching Stepford Wives and I was like, it's so funny because these men, they take their wives and they put them in this city in Connecticut, right? And they turn them into robots. Fine. There's like a bigger plot to everything, but still, I'm just gonna stay on the surface so I don't ruin it for you guys. I don't give out spoilers. Fine. So they turn the women into robots. Mind you, these are women who, in their previous lives, when they were sentient beings, they were successful women and they were like this and like that. So Nicole Kidman goes there with her husband. She's looking for a fresh start after getting fired from her work. And basically, there's this plot where the husbands are like convincing her husband, you gotta turn this girl into a robot, you know what I mean? And it's so crazy because when she realizes what's going on and she's like, you would do this to me, and he goes on this whole thing about how she is this and that and that and that he feels that he is lacking. It's like, oh, you've always been more of this than me, you've always been more of this than me. And she's like, yeah, but then like you get to be with me. But that's the thing with men are jealous. Men are jealous, guys. They're very, very jealous. And they're jealous even if they have the more money or the more social capital or whatever. They just have this jealousy towards women, right? And they look at women and they really want to convince themselves that women are not sentient beings. It actually also reminds me of the relationship that I had with my ex. Like, my ex and I would be in the middle of just fighting and disagreements and not getting along and just not seeing eye to eye and whatever. And in that, during that time is when he was more adamant about the fact that he wanted to have children with me. And at that time, I found that to be very, very flattering because I was like, oh, he still wants to make this work because he still wants us to have children. And meanwhile, this nigga... Guys, hey, as good sometimes. Meanwhile, this nigga just wants to humble me. He just wants to humble me. There's nothing romantic about a man wanting children from you, especially if he is not committed to you. If he is not legally committed to you, there's nothing flattering about a man wanting to have children with you. He just wants to humble you, baby. And this is why there's always a stigma to single mothers, but there's no stigma to absent fathers or deadbeat dads. As much as people could say that there is, oh, but there is. No, there's not. Because every time, if I were a single mom and I said something that set weird to someone, they would always mention the fact that, oh yeah, you're a single mom. Da, 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 da. Yeah, this is what you said. That's why your men left you. Babes, somebody said something about Cardi B, about, oh, Cardi B, she be doing this, but she can't keep a man. Babes, she was married. What do you mean she can't keep a man? She was married and she left that man. And clearly, that man literally looked at her like a prized exotic bird, went after her, pursued her. Baby girl, a man will literally headhunt you as if he's headhunting for his company. He was headhunting her. I'm taller. And then after that, did what? Gave her a bunch of babies and said, you're my baby mama. I won. He didn't say, oh, now I'm going to be absent from my kids. We're not a fam. He said, you are my baby mama. I won. Basically, his whole thing was that I'm going to find this woman who is naturally talented, charismatic. Everybody loves her. She is just herself. She is booming. She got so much money. And you know what I'm going to do to her? I'm going to make her a baby mama. And that's exactly the type of mentality my ex had about me, about like, I am going to humble this woman who thinks that, yeah, nah, she is so this and she is so that. Because one thing about me, baby, I think very highly of myself, regardless of what I have or don't have or whatever, or how I look on the day. I feel very, very highly and think very highly of myself because I love myself. I've built like a really good relationship with myself, and I'm going to be with myself for this entire lifetime. So I might as well love myself, right? And it's so crazy because literally he could have gone and found someone who is a humble lady, someone who is more kind of like reserved and more chilled and more, is someone who's very Proverbs. What's that scripture? Proverbs something, yeah, woman, and just being with her. But no, I want to humble the woman that feels like she's special. I want to humble her, and that's so crazy. That's why so many men fight against the antinatalism movement, because it's like, what do you mean you don't want to have kids? Then what's the point? What do you mean? You have to want to have kids. What do you mean you're getting an abortion? The babes, you guys you don't even want children. I saw a quote that said men want kids the same way that children, like small kids, want pets. They don't want to deal with the responsibility. They just want to be like, oh, do you know that I have a parrot? But I'm not trying to. It's the same thing with you. You're the parrot also. You're the caged little parrot that this nigga is like, I'm going to put you in this little cage and you're going to be my trophy. And then my friends can see that, you see, I caught a parrot and I put it in the not even a parrot, man. What's a more exotic bird? Like, I caught this bird and I put it in this cage. Look at me. Ha ha ha. Same thing with these people that go and they kill the animals, the wild animals, just for sport. That shit is the craziest shit of all time. It's weird. But anyway, moving right along. There's a thing here. You don't have my notes. So I say here that men are stingy with everything but sperm. Did I lie? No, I did not. Anyway, I am going to say this again. There are going to be things that I say on this channel that might sit offside with you, that you may not feel comfortable with, but I need you to understand that I don't say anything to discriminate against anybody. I am just viewing my personal experiences, and as I grow as a person and learn new things, I share those things. Sometimes they may not be the things. Even with my friends, we don't all believe in the same things the same type of way or whatever, but I'm not saying anything to be to throw jabs at anyone, right? But I do feel like I had a very weird relationship, for lack of a better word, I'll say weird. I had a very weird relationship with religion for a very long time. Since I was a child, actually. Since I was a child, I've had a very strange relationship with religion, of like being out of the church, being in the church, being like this, being like that, being like that. And I think I got to a place of acceptance with myself where I was like, baby girl, you do not have to do this thing if you feel in your spirit that it doesn't resonate with you, you know? You feel in your spirit that, and I'm not talking about the belief in God. I believe in God. I'm just saying the structure of religion, especially patriarchal structures of religion, patriarchal religions. And I'm not going to say any specific religion, but we know when we say patriarchal religions, it may be a very difficult thing to stomach, but you know what I'm talking about, and you know how the church, you know, has expectations over women, and a lot of the things that women are blamed for, or women, or a lot of how women are expected to behave, and which is behavior that is not upholded to men. And yes, you can say, yes, that is in it, but men are able to do whatever the F they want, right? And this is why I've said that I don't even believe in men as spiritual leaders. I don't believe in men as religious leaders. It makes sense though that men are religious leaders because, again, religion, patriarchy. But I don't believe in men as spiritual leaders because I would not trust a man with my life, right? And I'm saying this because we see it all the time. We see it all the time when men are the heads of churches and how they behave. We've seen this where there's a young girl that had a child with a whole pastor. We saw this in South Africa. We there's a man who was trying to sleep with young women in his church. We see this, and you could say, oh, but then you can't paint the same church with that. I generalize on this channel, especially when it comes to men, because men generalize women all the time. So I will generalize when it comes to men. I do not care. I don't care. I'm not going to sit here and try to coddle a man's feelings or try to coddle a pygmy's feelings and say, oh, you know, but there are good men, but there are, baby. If a random man walked into my apartment right now, I'm not going to be like, are you a good man or one of the bad ones? I'm going to assume that that man is trying to take me out. Well, I understand. So I'm saying this because I know that, like, a lot of women are expected to behave a certain way. And if you do not behave that way, then you are not a Proverbs what woman, you are not a godly woman, you are not a what. But men use religion to do what? To forgive themselves, to say, oh, I'm giving myself a clean slate now, I'm just gonna you know what, I'm giving myself a clean slate, I'm rebranding, I'm getting married, and please don't comment people's names. Don't comment people's names, guys, because on my other post they commented this other guys there. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm not talking about anybody specific when I say this, but we know a lot of people, even in our day-to-day lives, even if it's not like celebrities, a lot of men who do things and then rebrand, and they're like, oh, now I'm a godly man, now I'm like this. Baby, please, who are you lying to? Live in your truth. You ain't shit. Like, live in your truth. I just want to say, if it's your first time listening to this or watching this and you're like, yo, she curses, baby, I curse. Like, I do not, I said this in my previous video, like, I don't care for like being conservative and being and packaging myself. So let's go back to what I said when I said, and quote me on this, men are stingy with everything but sperm. Okay, quote me on that, because let me tell you, a man will complain about, oh, you want me to pay this and pay that, you guys want us to do this and do that, and da, 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 and a whole story. Ooh, and there's nothing I hate more than a man who can meet ori when it comes to money. Uni tori ya mara wena hey mara mine ho shut up. But then when you say, oh, let me open my legs, let's try to make a baby, yeah, let's do it, baby, let's try to have a baby. Are y'all crazy? Protect your wombs from these fucking psychos. Guys, Protect your wombs from these fucking psychos. Because I am telling you, and I'm laughing like this from personal experience. When I sit here and I say things, trust and believe, I've been through some shit. Like, I've been through things. And it's like, I'm just happy that, like, I came out unscathed, you know? And I also, like, I've learned a lot. And I'm so glad that, like, I wasn't raised by pick me's. Like, I thank God all the time for that. I'm just like, oh my God, thank you that my mama is not a pick me. Because I cannot imagine having to be forced to stay in a situation because of it's the good thing to do, or like, who's gonna marry you and when are you gonna give us grandkids? And when, baby, my mom's been married. My mom got married twice and she's divorced and she's happy. And she's happy. So, by the way, you guys, talking about this, I have to do another video with my mom because I know you love my mom. Tell me what you guys want my mom and I to talk about for our next video. Because if you didn't watch our other videos that we have 2 videos. She goes into like a whole Niger love story with her first husband. And it's quite entertaining. She's a very entertaining character. So if you would like to see my mom again on this channel, let me know what you guys want us to talk about. Okay. So yeah. But basically, I'm just going to say in this video, you have to be a free woman. Be okay with being a free woman. It's not going to be easy, okay? And I know that like a lot of black women, and I'm saying black women because I've said this before, black women and white women don't date the same. White women don't close themselves off with, oh, I'm divorced now, I'm done for, I have kids now, I'm done for. They be living their life. They get married 5 times. If you watch the Real Housewives where it's predominantly white women, you'll know what I'm talking about. But like with black women, it's like you're very just like closed off, and I understand why, because of the experiences we have with the partners that we tend to gravitate towards, like black men, right? But I'm gonna say, please open your sphere of dating, like open guys, like go date in other nations. And I know that like we get sworn at and called names when we date men from other African countries, you know. South African women, we get sworn at, we got called names when we date men from other African countries. But who cares? It's always the broke men who have the loudest things to say. Yeah, uchola nama what uchola. It's fine, baby. Please, like, date, branch out, because when us since uli traumatized, you're traumatized because Temba from Tembisa traumatized you, and now you don't want anything to do with him. And then yeah, that's it, babes. Branch out. All right, branch out, please. Don't let me touch on the other movie actually that I mentioned, Don't Worry Darling, because I just spoke about Stepford Wives and basically what happens there and how they turn the women into robots, and the women are very like compliant, and they're just like, oh, the house is clean, oh, and the guy's like, yeah, get me my beer, and she's like, okay, and oh, when are you coming home? When I come home, oh, okay, I'm just at home baking cupcakes, shit like that. And that's what they want, right? They want people who they don't want to be able to look at themselves, because it's very difficult. Having introspection, having emotional intelligence, the way that as women that we have, it's very difficult. We know being, you know, emotional, as they would say that, oh, you're very emotional, which is weird because they're the emotional ones. I mean, who does the most things out of anger? Them. But anyway, like being intuitive is not a bad thing, but like with them, they just be living life and just and they don't want to have to they don't want to have to deal with certain things that life requires. My friend Busi and I were talking about this, about how men are okay with being unhappy. And yeah, that's a whole other thing. Like, men are actually really okay with being unhappy, and that's why people will say, oh, women are the ones that initiate divorce more, because women, like, when we're unhappy, it's like we're unhappy, but a man will live in the hell with you, causing you the hell, and him living in that hell. For example, patriarchy is not working. We all know that's not working. Patriarchy is up to here, but The men don't want to let it go because it's a hell that they're willing to live in just for women to continue to be robots, just for women to continue to, for them to be like, no, women are not sentient. No, they can't. The women, as long as it's fine, we are in hell, it's okay, as long as the women are also in hell with us. As long as they are in hell with us. And yeah, it's fine. As long as we are all in this hell together. So we were talking about that, about how men are okay with being unhappy. Like a man will be okay with like being married for 20 years and knowing that he's unhappy. And, you know, and when the woman says, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, they're like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't want to do this anymore? I'm here too. I'm also unhappy. Like, do you understand? Because your happiness takes a lot of responsibility. My friend Lucy said this. She's like, you know, they like that because they know that happiness takes a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of accountability and a lot of responsibility to yourself. Again, religion. It's easy for you to subscribe to patriarchal religion because it almost removes you from being accountable, right? It almost removes you from being responsible for certain actions that you do on people, which is why men then use it for a tool to say, oh, you know what? It wasn't me. It was the devil. It was the devil. It's not me that did all these things. It was the devil. So now I'm going to God, and then God will forgive me. Right? Not that I'm actually trying to be a better human being. I'm trying to be, you know, I'm trying to account for these things. I'm trying to, you know, really introspect. No, I don't want to look at those parts of myself. I'm going to blame the devil. I'm going to blame my imaginary friends and say they made me do it. And it's okay because they don't want to take the responsibility. Okay. Hey guys, that's it with today's video. If you are not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe to the channel. Like, subscribe, okay? And hit the notification button. And also, if you're listening to the podcast version of this, whatever you have to do there on Spotify, do that thing, okay? I hope you enjoyed the video. And if it touched something inside of you, comment. Me, I don't mind. Even if you swear at me, I'm so used to people on TikTok swearing at me. Like, it's like water under a duck's bizak, baby. So I don't care. Thank you so much for watching the video. Until next time. Mwah.
I don't know how you men get that way, but every time you meet an attractive woman, you begin to plan on how and where you can club her wings down.
I'm different, remember?